Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Voices of the Goddess podcast, where we empower, inspire, and uplift women to be the goddesses they were meant to be. I'm your co-host, Julietta, the magical PT. I'm here in Fort Lauderdale, where I have my own physical therapy practice called Body and Soul PT, and it's really a alternative, holistic practice. I definitely look at people's bodies a little bit differently than the average PT, and so my practice is very different, hence the name, the magical PT. I didn't choose that name. That was the name that was given to me, and because it was, I was given the chore by a business coach to ask my people to describe what I do, and the most commonly chosen word was magic. So there you go. In addition to that, I am an artist. I do paintings like my ohms behind me, and I also do jewelry and art with crystals. Lately, I've been making a lot of malas, and recently, because people keep requesting it, I've started making bracelet malas, and which is, it's interesting because it's not that different, but it's still different, and so it's a new skill to learn, and yeah, so that's me. Who are you?
Good morning, everybody. I am Allyson Mancini, and I am the operations director at the Gold Digger Girl. And at the Gold Digger Girl, we basically support women to create their business empires. That is our vision and our mission, and we love every minute of it. And so I get the awesome honor of supporting our entire staff, and on the side, I get to support all of our clients. But I am also a functional nutritionist, and I really am driven by that idea of just holistic health, and it all works together. And I think it's so important that we as women take care of ourselves, because when we don't take care of ourselves, we really can't do all the things that we want to do. I'm also a mom to two amazing son who's 25 and a daughter who will be 23 on Saturday. And I am a dog mom. You might be able to hear them in the background. They're chewing bones right now. I have two puppies, German short hair pointers, and they are my babies now. So, and I've been married for a really long time. I didn't even have that in. So I've been married for almost 29 years. So yeah. So that's me.
That's you in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Do you have our sponsor?
I do not have our sponsor, but we can talk about our sponsor.
We can talk about our sponsor, absolutely. And it was awesome because we had an event this past Monday night, but Rebecca Schaefer is the owner of, is it High Vibration?
High Vibrations, yes.
And she's a Reiki practitioner and a Kundalini yoga instructor, and she does group Reiki circles and healing events, and she does both in-person and distance Reiki healing sessions. And this woman is amazing. I've been working in the field of energy for a long time, and I've had a lot of energy sessions done on me. I know a lot of people in that industry, and I have to say that Rebecca is extremely talented. She has a very special gift, and if you're looking for someone for some Reiki energy healing, absolutely reach out to that woman. She is phenomenal. Her contact information is all in the show notes, so you can find how to get her there. Also check our Facebook group, our Facebook page. Her information has been plastered all over there this month because she is our sponsor. And all right, I had mentioned earlier we had an event on Monday night here in Fort Lauderdale with a lot of women from the goddess community, and it was put on by Alicia, who was Alicia Botang. She was one of our sponsors a few months ago, and she is the cup lady. And I don't have my cup this morning because my coffee maker is dying. It's really sad. But
I saw that.
Yeah.
But just go to her website, aliciabotang.com, I believe it is. And holy cow, the cups are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
She had them there at the event. She sold a bunch of them at the event. So that was really cool. But she hosted this event, and she hosted it at another one of our podcast guests. She hasn't been a sponsor, but I'm working on her on that. But she hosted the event at her location because Alicia doesn't really have a space for us. So right. So Sandy Pierce of Osteo Strong hosted the event at her place. And literally I drove home from the event crying happy tears. Aww. Because, you know, thinking back to, what is it, 2 years ago that we started this. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we had this, how can we support women? And seeing this event last night and how these women were all coming together, it was just, this is exactly why we did this. And, you know, obviously our hosts, we gave them time to do their whole elevator spiel and tell everybody about their business and what they do and why they do it. And it was wonderful. But then we also had all of the guests that were there mm-hmm. share, you know, what they do. And during that process, all of these women were connecting in different ways and seeing how can I support you? How can you support me? And just really connecting. And the other piece, if anybody in there wasn't fully disclosing their greatness, there were other women who saw that and mm-hmm. cued them like, hey, you're missing out on telling all of these women this amazing stuff about you. And it was interesting to watch, you know, some of them, it was like, I'm uncomfortable sharing that, you know, it doesn't, they're like, you know, you're being too humble. Like, it's mm-hmm. okay mm-hmm. to tell the world your achievements. And, you know, why do we do that as women? That it's, you know, difficult for us to tell everybody the amazing mm-hmm. things that we're up to. So yeah, the whole event just really was beautiful to watch these women working together, lifting each other up. And it just felt like the energy of the event felt so good and just made me so happy to feel like you and I created this house. And historically, I have not had a lot of female friends because, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of cattiness, gossipiness, all of this garbage that women historically have done. And we really need to shift that and work together. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons that we absolutely started this is because we wanted to, you know, support and empower other women and support each other because we're hard enough on ourselves, right? Like we're so hard on ourselves. We, you know, we have that whole imposter syndrome, which sounds like was happening a bit on Monday night. You know, that we forget that we are really incredible just as we are, and we have done amazing things. And yes, there is a lot of women out there that are tearing other women down. I think especially It's so interesting how things have changed over like just the last few years, going through the pandemic, going through the Me Too, all that stuff. And I am not a political person at all whatsoever. I do not get involved in that stuff. But it's just interesting to see how things have really, they definitely have changed. It's much different than when we were growing up. And I just would really love to see more and more women supporting one another and letting go. And this is the thing, like all that cattiness and all that, we'll just call it what it is, jealousy, because that's essentially what it comes down to. All that stuff is like each person's own personal stuff. That's like your baggage, your stuff that you need to work through. And I would just say, work through it. Like, do what you need to do, work with an energy healer, work with a therapist. I don't care who they are, how they do it, whatever works for you. Because the reality is you're really only hurting yourself, right? When you're like not being, and it actually is interesting because it feels good to support other women. It doesn't feel so good to tear them down. It just makes you feel yuck, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I find it really interesting. And I think for young women, it's such a different landscape now because, everything that they do is on the internet. Everything. Holy cow. Some of the things I did in high school were on the internet. Not like I did like, terrible, like criminal things or anything like that, but embarrassing things and it's all over the place. And they're like, I don't know. It's just, and it's that whole other thing too. That's the other flip side of it is this whole image to have to try to keep up, right? Like Lexi and I, okay, this is perfect. Lexi and I, I'm a documentary geek. I love these things. Lexi and I over the weekend started watching the Victoria's Secret documentary because little known fact to all of our viewers and listeners, I actually went to school for marketing and fashion merchandising. My dream job was I wanted to be like this bigwig fashion buyer in New York City. And then I met my husband and ended up moving to Florida. So it didn't quite work out that way. But my actual favorite, like from middle school on, I even had many Forenza sweaters from the Limited. The Limited was like my favorite store. Like I loved it. And so when I got out of college, I actually got a job at Structure, which was like the men's equal to the Limited, right? And it doesn't exist anymore. Now they have Men's Express or whatever. So I've been like a big fan of that whole company for a very, very long time. And then Victoria's Secret came out. It was interesting because Lexi, she's like on the other side of all of this. So she hasn't seen the evolution of the way that whole company and the whole everything that they were about. And it's interesting. We were watching it the other night and they were showing do you remember the Victoria's Secret catalogs?
Of course.
First of all, they were like a hot commodity. I told Lexi, I'm like, we all couldn't wait for them to come because you just wanted to see all the amazing outfits and all the wonderful places these women were at. But they were showing us on these models, mind you, how much they edited those photos. Like literally took the sides of like their waist and their hips out. And like they took off inches. They took off like 4 inches on each side. I was like, oh my gosh. So I look back at where we were at, like we had that to deal with, like that image. And they talk about it in this documentary, how it was so unrealistic and it really was more harmful to so many women because they were thinking that that was what they had to be up against. But I look at it now, that's what my daughter's seeing on the internet. That's what she sees on social media all the time because everyone's fixing their photos. Stop fixing your photos. I've been guilty of it.
All the filters and everything. I'm like, what the...
I mean, I've been guilty of it too when like I've taken a picture and I'm like, oh my gosh, you look like you're like sick or something. And I'll like touch up my skin and like, make my cheeks a little rosy and put on some, they have all those apps you can do that. But like, just be real, just be who you are because you are amazing the way that you are. And so anyways, it's been really interesting to watch this with Lexi and to see the evolution of how. And that they stopped the Victoria's Secret fashion shows. They are not doing them anymore, which they were like big time, big deal. So
yeah, I wasn't aware that they had stopped them, but
yes,
can't really follow that. Victoria's Secret is not my store.
It's not mine either. It's so funny because I never could afford it growing up. So it was just like to watch it. But what's incredible to me is that what I love about it is they make all these wings, you know, the models on the runway wear these like, and to me, that's like Las Vegas, like amazing costuming and stuff like that. That's the only reason, if I ever watched it and remembered it was on, that was the reason I'd watch it. But my whole point to all of that is that here we are portraying to women all of these standards that are almost impossible for most women.
They're not real. They're all Photoshop.
No, it's terrible.
I love the celebrities these days that are, you know, showing themselves unedited so that people understand that they have cellulite. they have some meat on their bones. They, you know, people need to see the reality so that they're not. How many girls and women are doing harm to themselves trying to live up to those standards? It's sad.
Yeah. So anyways, I know we kind of like went off on I went off on a little thing.
Place, and that's completely fine. But you know,
what it really comes down to is that if we would just be real with one another, like feel your feelings, like be okay with. It's like you said, the women on Monday night, some of them were saying, "Hey, why are you downplaying? You do some awesome things. Like that's what we should be doing for one another, not this like, I don't know. It's just sometimes you walk into these situations and these women are just, it's got to be so much work and so hard for them. That's what I think. It's a lot of emotional work to keep up that image. Well,
a lot of the competition comes from scarcity mindset.
That is true. You're right. Yeah.
You know, there's not enough for everybody. There's not enough to go around, and only the perfect people get the best bits. So, there's.
No, I hear what you're saying. Like the best example I can think of that for me right now is my boss, Kimberly Olson, is in the coaching space. Coaching space is crazy right now. There's a lot of people in the coaching space, right?
Everybody and their cousin is a coach.
Right. But what's interesting to me about her is she never has that scarcity mindset. Like she has no problem promoting other coaches. She has no problem sharing with other coaches. She's in collaboration with other coaches. She's doing a whole live event in September in Nashville. The women that are coming are all other coaches, and they're well, you know what I mean? Some well-known, some lesser known, whatever. But it's amazing to me. And I really, really believe, I'm glad you brought that up, is that having that abundance mindset just brings more abundance. When you have that scarcity mindset, you're closing off all that. You're closing off all possibility. You're squashing that energy. And she's so good and always has been so good about that. It's really incredible to see like how it works out, you know, from like an insider perspective. I mean, she gets opportunities all the time because she never, when people come to her and ask her, hey, do you mind supporting this for me? Do you mind sending, she has other coaches say, hey, do you mind sending out this to your email list? Her email list is like 40,000 people. And she's like, sure. She'll like, you know, she'll promote, she'll share, whatever, you know? So it's pretty interesting to see. So I agree with you.
Well, go ahead. We know that the abundance mindset creates more abundance. And I also love that, you know, when people are in the scarcity mindset, there's not enough people who need coaching around it. So instead of just focusing on what you do, they focus on these people over here are doing this thing terribly. That's why you should come to me instead. Like, don't mind what other people are doing. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Focus on yourself and be the best you that you can be instead of trying to compare yourself to others and tell everybody why you're better than others. Just leave the others out of it and just focus on you. And I'm like, I'm sitting here having this conversation, realizing that on some level, I still do it a little bit. Like I still put down traditional PT, and I really need to stop that.
Yeah, you do.
And just focus on what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not traditional physical therapy. I am different than that. Some people need traditional therapy, and I send people to, you need this, you need to go see a regular PT right now. And
Right.
that's not what I do. So, and I'm like, thank you for this moment of aha awareness that I do still on some level criticize a little bit. And
no, yeah. I mean, I get it. That's human nature. That's just, I think that's just something we just are wired to do. But, I spent 2 days in Austin last week in a room of 14 other basically coaches to one degree or another that were literally collaborating and working together from all over the world. There was one from Australia. There was one from Canada. There was no competition there. There was complete collaboration and support, and you got this, and why don't you do this? And it was incredible to see when you come together in a mindset of abundance, all the amazing things that you can create. And I think that was really cool. So,
yay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad Monday night went well. And I think that's amazing. And amazing. We need to continue to do those things and support women, support each other.
And also seeing it, stories keep coming in of women who have been on the podcast and what it has attracted into, whether it's customers or connection with others. It's really fantastic. So it hasn't always been easy for us. This is a lot of work that you and I, a lot of time, a lot of money that we've invested in putting this thing forward, and to actually, see the results of it. And it has truly been beautiful to see the evolution and how it's come along, and seeing it bringing women together, supporting each other. It's a beautiful thing.
I agree.
So, anything more?
No.
It's a wrap?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Well, I want to send a huge thank you to our sponsor, Rebecca Schaefer with High Vibrations. Check her out. Get some Reiki from her. It is wonderful. And thank you to our listeners tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. And if you want to get a hold of Allyson or myself, check out the show notes. All our website, social media, contact, it's all in there. You can find us there. And if you've liked what you've heard, please subscribe, like, follow, and share. There is value in this for all the women out there, so we definitely want to keep spreading the word. And with that, I want to wish everybody a magical day. Bye.